thoughts. Don't, everybody, this is a safe space. Everybody's going to respect your ideas, respect your thoughts, and share. There's no stupid questions. There's no stupid comments. There are just thoughts that need to be explored a little bit deeper. Communicate openly. Respect the ideas and opinions of others. Disconnect from the outside world while you're here and be in the moment. All right? If you can, turn off your phone. If you can. I took care of my mother the last 10 years of her life. I left the workforce for 4 years to do full-time senior care. I could not turn off my phone. All right? I understand that. You guys got kids, you have an elderly mother, whatever. If you have that type of situation, just put it on vibrate. When you get a call, just step out into the hallway. All right? But if you can, tell your family, leave me alone for 3 hours. That's all I need, 3 hours, 1 day a week. Just leave me alone. Right? Respect your ideas. Have a conversation with your family and support team. Okay? This is one of the things in this class. You need to go home and have a conversation with your family. Let them know, because a lot of times our family can get in our way more than anybody else. Right? When you come home, you belong to them. You've got to make it clear you belong to you certain periods during the week. When I put this red baseball cap on, I'm at work. Don't ask me to make you nothing in the kitchen. Don't ask me to do the laundry. Don't ask me to do anything. Right? Just leave me alone. But then don't use the hat to stay away from your family. All right? And just walk around with the hat on all the time. And don't do that. They're not going to appreciate that. All right, but have a serious conversation. Sit them down and say, hey, look, this is something that I really want to do. I've been talking about this for a while. You all know I've been talking about this for a while. Now I'm doing it. I need you to get out my way. Or help me. You do some research. You get online and you got a little bit of artistic skills, start designing the logo. If you can get your family involved, get them involved. But one of the things we talk about in the class, you don't want to do business with friends or family because they will take advantage. Right? Can I get a discount? Right. So have a conversation with your family and your support team. Be a perpetual professional. Give 100%. That's it. It's not a lot, right? This is how you probably operate every day. You give 100% when you're doing something that's important to you. This should be the most important thing to you outside of your family. Right? Because this is for your family, this is for your community, this is for something that's much larger than you're thinking right now. All right, so we're going to start with introductions, and we just pass the microphone around the room. So just
I'll start it out.
You'll start it out?
I'm just going to go around. So this is going to be the opportunity for you to introduce yourself, do a 1-minute elevator speech about your company, what your goal is, what you're hoping to accomplish, and what you want to get out of this class with it. So, my name is Vince Williams. I'm the co-owner of Alexander Noel Men's Custom Shoes. Been featured since 2016, been in British GQ, and we just got on the Zappos.com. Doing very well. We're finding out that more women are coming to our website to order men's shoes for their sons, cousins, brothers, nephews. Now we're capturing that female traffic, and we're going to introduce women's custom shoes. So you'll see the growth potential of it. I've been teaching this class, so I'm hoping to learn more context to see how we can continue to improve from a technology standpoint. That's simple, right? All right. So start over here.
Let them come up.
Because we're filming this together.
I'm so nervous. My name is Tony Poole. I'm the owner of TMP Mobile Services. I started that company 2019. I brought it up, put it down, brought it up, put it down. I went to do the business last year full time. Unfortunately, I had to go back to work, so I'm back to work. Now I'm looking to learn the back ends of the business and do it properly, so when I do bring it back up, it could be successful.
All right, thanks, Tony.
What do you want to get out of the class?
Oh, sorry. I want to get out the class, literally, how to run a business. Everything about it, back end, everything, financial side, everything.
Okay. So as you can see, some people are experiential learners they like to jump in first. I'm that way. I like to, get dirty first and then go back for the academics later because I have a feel for the landscape and what I don't know, right? Other people like to get into the books, take class, go get their degree in marketing and everything like that before they even make an attempt, all right? So it's important for you to understand what's your learning style. Do you like to read first? Do you like to experience first? Are you a visual learner? Do you like to watch other people do it and learn from them? I mean, Aaron Rodgers sat behind Brett Favre for how many years before he even got a chance to throw the football, right? So picking up the business and putting it down, picking up the business and putting it down is a very common thing. Don't ever look at that as failure. Look at that as gaining experience. Next.
Hello everyone, my name is Jay Cross French Calhoun. I tried to cheat and look up whatever I wrote yesterday for my pitch, but I couldn't find it, so I'm gonna do it now. Okay.
There you go.
So I am the founder of Young Gifted Hustler Millennial Economic Innovation. I am focused on decoding some of the socioeconomical barriers within our communities. I currently create curriculum for a nonprofit organization in Auburn Gresham. I've created life skills, financial literacy curriculum, as well as parenting curriculum, because I am a mother of 3. So my goal for my organization is not only to help those with their life skills, but I also want to come up with solutions and create job opportunities for people in our communities so that they can support their dreams. From this particular program, I do want to create a operating system so that I can bring in people to hire to help me to grow my business.
Welcome, Jay.
Sorry, I'm a little hoarse. My name is Eunice Summers, and I am currently the owner and operator of a mobile massage business called Chicago Massage by Eunice. I focus primarily on helping ladies or individuals recover from cosmetic surgery in the comfort of their own home. I also now incorporate more than just massage therapy and lymphatic drainage techniques. I educate them and coach them through wellness practices and ways to maintain their health. I'm currently transitioning that business of massage therapy to be geared more towards an overall wellness program that helps people with their day-to-day living and wellness aspects. So that would include like yoga and trauma-informed wellness therapies. So I actually just honed that down to today to the demographic that we'll be working with. I basically would like to learn, I have an idea as to what I know and what I don't know or what I don't do very well, so I would like to hone those skills and then potentially grow more as far as when it comes to resources and networking in that regard with being able to scale my business.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Karen Quarles, owner of Beautiful You Boutique. We sell trendy, upscale men, women, and children clothing and accessories. We have an online store, www.beautifulyou.net. We also do pop-ups around the city of Chicago and nearby suburbs as well. My goal, what I want to get out of this class is to come up with a business plan. I started this business because, I grew up being an entrepreneur when I was young. My mom allowed me to open up a candy store. We sold dinners, we was always selling something. So here I am.
You had strawberry cookies with little ice on top.
Yes. So now I need to learn the actual business part of it, the back end, as the young lady said. So I would like to get my business plan, also financial help, because my goal is to have a brick and mortar as well. That really was my goal, was to, I was diving into that already, but I had some little side kicks, so that didn't work out. So here I am. So I want to get the business plan, tap into some resources financially to help me with marketing and opening up my brick and mortar. Also with grant writing as well, and also learn how to make some jewelry, so I can have something and I can brand of my own. That's the goal, is to brand something of my own, clothing, jewelry, whatever that may be.
So do you have any stuff with you that that you sell?
Well, the necklace I have on right now, I sell these necklaces and earrings and accessories.
And during the Shark Tank, you had on a nice piece.
Yes, I did. I didn't wear anything today to represent that because I'm still employed, guys. I work with special needs students. So I can't go to work all fabulous like I want to. Diva. So yeah. They my babies, so I have to be prepared to take care of them at all times.
You're still fabulous. Still fabulous.
Hello, how are you doing? I am Shannon Harris. I am a CEO of multiple international entrepreneurship ventures. So the last 3 are steered towards community, personal, and professional wellness. And before that, it was IT and music. So I've been a professional musician, DJ, and all that, and as I'm trying to move it over into creating I trademarked something called audio pharmacology. I have patents with it. Also trademarked something called frequency as a pharmacy. So it's how to use energy in regards to medicine. And it is audio, but when you think of audio, think of ultrasound, you can hear as well that they use in hospitals. So it's not just music. So the reason why I'm here is I found it difficult explaining what I just told you into how it can benefit you. So a partner, Stacey Gibson, and I started something called self-care laboratories, where you've heard of self-care, so you can kind of go, oh, yoga, qigong, I practice and teach that as well. And the reason why I'm here is most of my interaction is around the world. I'm on the road a lot. So I've worked in the community here, but it's just not profitable in the wellness arena. So I'm always on the West Coast or somewhere else. So I'm trying to figure out how to get resources in the Chicago area, and the fact that Chicago being a water source, a lot of people from other places that are going to are actually going to come here, and I want to be the person that's going to, pioneer some of these things. Did I answer the question? Okay. Oh, that was one of the things. Resources. Learn how to get the resources and steer my efforts to a hyper-local Chicago Midwest type of thing. Because most of my resources are, I've worked in Silicon Valley, Hollywood, and Seattle, Kenya, Japan, just how to do it locally. I need to know the Chicago fabric. I'm here, but they're not into me here like that. Yeah.
So let me say a little bit about that. You can have a great business, but when you're pioneering new concepts, it's really important to be able to communicate to your population what the benefits are. We do a large portion of one of our classes on features versus benefits. right? People buy the benefits. They don't buy power locks in the car, they buy the ease of rolling down the window, right? Rolex, you don't buy a watch, you buy status, right? Ferrari, you don't buy a car, you buy performance. Volvo, you buy safety, right? So when it comes to communicating your idea, we're gonna have to break it down to things that, first of all, don't scare our community, because we know we got issues, right? And show the benefit of how it can peel something off or provide something better for them. And I think between lymphatic drainage and a lot of the other terms that are new to our communities, that's what our challenge is getting folks to understand what it is that you're actually bringing. And we'll spend time on that with you. So.
Hello, everyone. My name is Stacy Smith, and I have a company called Butter Cookie Cafe. I specialize in those cookies that we all knew and loved in grammar school in Chicago. I have been making them since I was 10, and I've been selling them since then. I have, all the family events. I get invited to parties to bring my cookies, and then I realized I could sell them because I was giving them away, but now I've learned that I could sell them. And I've opened up, I did a lot of pop-ups, and I have a lot of restaurant experience. So I've opened up 7 restaurants for other companies, startups. I helped them, front of the house, back of the house. I had that experience. And because of that, I'm supposed to have my own. I helped so many people, and they were supposed to help me, and they didn't. So now I'm at the point and the age where I'm ready to fight for it. So I'm fighting for it. This is a legacy for me. I have 3 sons. None of my sons know how to make my cookies. And so it's disheartening for me because I'm like, how am I going to pass this on? So my restaurant, I want to have sugar because I sell comfort for the soul. So I have sugar, everything that makes you happy, and I've sold them at pop-ups, and I do it for parties. I do a lot of parties. And so I have all this experience, but I'm also a realtor. I've been in the real estate game since 2009. I sold a lot of new construction. I worked for a developer and a builder, so I built properties. I picked all the sources. I went to Columbia. I studied interior design and architecture. I didn't work in my field because back in the 80s, they didn't like black women in my field. They didn't want to talk to me. I've had many black architects say they don't hire black women. And so I was discriminated, against me, I felt. But I kept going. I just kept getting other jobs, so I have all this experience. And currently I work in the healthcare field. I work for Advocate Hospital. So I talk to customers and patients all day. They holler and scream at me. I'm strong. So I'm strong, and I know I can handle whatever, life gives me. So right now, I work every day on my business. I'm trying to get grants. I'm on my brick and mortar. I can see it. I can smell it. I can hear it. I can feel it. I can touch it. And I know that I need to be here because I need to be around the right people, the right resources. So when I open this thing, there's no turning back because I want it, and I want it really bad, and I don't want to fail. I want to be in it to win it because like Dylan's candy store owned by Ralph Lauren's daughter, Dylan. She has this great candy store, and then when I saw it and I fell in love with it, I was like, this is it, this is what I want, and it's no black people that's really doing that. And in the neighborhoods where you can go and you walk in the door and it smells good, and you don't know what to buy, and there's so many things to see and offer, and that's why I want to be where like, you're just coming there just to look and see, and you're gonna leave out of my store with something. And so, I'm fighting, I'm like really fighting for it. I'm like too old to turn back, and I'm not giving up on this. So I want to be here, and I want to learn from the best.
Did you bring any?
I didn't, but I can.
I'm only going to say that once.
Hello.
My name is Deidre Shelton, and I'm a designer. I design a riding ramp. I have a generic name for it right now. It's the D4 riding ramp. What it's designed to do is allow people, young and old, to have fun. It can be private, but my intentions is to get it in public parks as well as having private people to buy them and own them. So you can ride bikes on it, scooters on it, rollerblades, and hoverboards. So it's energetic. It serves a number of reasons. I thought about it during COVID. That's when I started to design it, because I am a foster parent, and I was thinking about how do you keep these kids active, but keep them away from, well, at that time, you had to keep families separate. So that was one of the things that I thought about making. So that's what I'm working on. So what do I need? I need help from A to Z. I've designed it. I want to make my prototype. I want to get into the 3D program, because Chicago has 3D machines, but they don't let you use them. So I went to the public library, and they said, oh, we have it, but we don't have enough staff to let you use it. And then at the 95th and Halsted, they said, oh, we have it, but it's just for teenagers. But my tax dollars pay for this. I've owned 3 properties, and I don't get to say that I don't want to put this portion in property because they don't allow adults to use certain things. I still have to pay, the portion that goes to public libraries. So anyway, I want to get help in product development as well as business development. So that covers it all for me.
Excellent. Perfect. Okay.
Did you check with the Harold Washington Library on the 3D printers?
No, I was going to talk to the head of the public libraries.
Okay, maybe this is a good time. So one of our field trips is actually to the Harold Washington Library, because research is different now, and the libraries, when Obama got into office, he changed the focus of the library. Can everyone in the class make it to a 5 o'clock class one time? Just one time?
Yes.
You can do it?
At Harold Washington.
If I can get, I work till 5.
Okay.
I'm off on Tuesdays. I don't know if that matters to y'all, but if I need to leave work early, I will.
So it'll just be that one day in week 4.
Okay.
And it's only a 2-hour class from 5 until 7. So if you can get there like 4:45, it'll be perfect. And if you can't, say so, and we'll get another library. Diana just worked on that today. All right.
So just so you'll know too, this field trip to the Harold Washington Library is extremely powerful, because the librarian that we work with, Mr. Woodside, will explain to you all of the free resources that you get through the public library, from how to figure out your industry NAICS codes to how much money is in this industry. For example, if you're in black hair care, that's a couple of $1 billion industry. They'll tell you how to find those numbers, how to incorporate that in, how to do research on names, the whole works. I mean, every single time we teach this class and they walk away from that, everyone's floored at how much information you have at no cost, because you're Chicago residents and you get to use the library information for free. I mean, it's a ton of stuff.
Yeah, and see, whenever you're writing a business plan or going after grants or anything like that, they're going to want to know that you know the area that you're trying to target, what the poverty rates are, what the the crime rates are, how many other businesses are like yours within a 5-mile radius. All that stuff you can get from the library. And here's the great thing. Now, the business librarian can do that research for you. You can call them and say, hey, I'm looking for this, and this. And they'll get back to you in a week with all the information for you. All right? But it's important for you to know how to find that information yourself. Because if Glenn disappears, what are you going to do? right? You gotta be able to do it yourself. And this is part of what this class does, is you're gonna get a little bit of a lot of different things. And as an entrepreneur, that's what you have to be proficient at, right? You have to be fairly good at a lot of different things and then hire experts in the areas that you need the most support on, right?
Hello, I'm Cartrell Weathers. Can you hear me? I'm the owner
Move over
of
some
Getting
more.
Again
Get him over a little
LLC.
bit more. One more step. Get in the middle of the screen. Yeah, go to the middle of the screen. There you
So
go.
I'm the owner of Get It Again LLC. It's been in business for about 2 years. It's pretty much a catering business that I do from home. I go out sometimes and I sell plates. I've been selling cookies and desserts and stuff for a long time. I don't really too much do the desserts anymore, more so the cooking now. I go out and sell plates and do catering events and stuff. I just want to get more consistent with it. It's the big goal with it is being more consistent with like my number crunching and just like how I operate my business. Sometimes I see I lose money when I should be gaining money just because some things are too expensive, and then especially with the food prices and stuff running up, like that kind of was like a lot too, where I'm like losing a lot of money. So that's like the big thing that I'm looking for to do is like number crunch, grow my business, be more consistent with my marketing, and just overall get it off the ground and not have to work a 9 to 5. I'm currently a chef at Cooper's Hawk, so it's pretty good. Is that everything?
Perfect. Excellent.
So this is an important thing that he just,
No, go ahead. You
that
walk
he
by.
just said, because, you know, as you start your business, there's a portion on the business model canvas called cost structure, right? It's important to know where you spend the most money in your business, right? Like our business, it's on payroll, right? Because it's mostly staff. We buy the equipment one time, and then we contract out for people to teach it, everything like that. If you have a trucking company, cost structure is going to be in repairs and gasoline, right? So now the news becomes important. When Russia invaded the Ukraine, it cut off the gas supply, right? It caused supply chain disruptions. All that is going to trickle down to you as entrepreneurs. And it's important, and through this class, you'll be able to start to get a sense of what part of the news do I need to start paying attention to? Because it's going to impact me directly. If you're, you know, doing cookies and you got eggs in them, you just tripled your cost, right, over these last couple of months. Same thing with milk, all of the dairy stuff, you know, because of the bird flu, right? All of these things now impact you directly. And these are some of the things you'll learn in this class to what to start to pay attention to. Next.
Hello, I am Yolanda Gray, and I'm a licensed nail tech. I got my license. I actually went to school twice. I went in 2011, and I got a kidney transplant, which caused me not to be able to get licensed. So I decided to go back, and I started out in this business really late in the game. I'm 51, so it's like, you know, all the young girls got it on lock right now. And in the heart of COVID, I took my licensing test and got licensed because I was determined to do that first. And right now, well, I was in a shop when COVID started. They closed all the shops, barber shops, everything. So I decided to open a shop in my home and still proceed, you know, to take clients. And right now, I mean, my clientele is okay. It's definitely not where I want it to be. So what I really ultimately want to do is to have a traveling spa. And I kind of don't know how that looks for me right now, since I have to get other licensed techs to help me out with that. So I'm working on that right now, trying to see where I'm going to go with that. But I also am looking to do my own products, because as we know, the Vietnamese, they really have it. You know, we go to them regardless of what they do to us. And I wanna teach
Black women, men specifically, that we don't have to go that route, because there are great African American nail techs out here that are doing great work. They're doing the proper work, the proper sanitation, and that's what we need today. So really, I'm a little bit all over the place with this, but my ultimate goal is to have products and a traveling spa.
So whenever you're trying to penetrate an industry that's kind of on lock, right? First thing you want to do is figure out what they're doing well and what they're doing wrong, and how are you going to differentiate yourself from that. Everybody in this class is going to have to differentiate themselves from their competitors, right? Sanitation is absolutely one of them, because I don't do clear polish. I buff, and I watch them use the same buffer, and I tell them every time, get me a new one that's coming out of the bag, right? It's not the right service. So you're going to have to talk about, how many people in here have a website already? Okay, good. Good, that's real good. All right, next.
How y'all doing today?
Hello.
My name is Mr. Allison. I own a construction company and a demolition company and a nonprofit for youth. Basically, we do remodeling stuff and clean out gut outs and stuff like that. And then with my youth foundation, I'm trying to target the kids to keep the kids off the street from doing violence and all that stuff. I got a lot on my hands right now, and it's a lot more businesses I got too. But my main two things I'm focusing on is my construction company and my demolition. My nonprofit. Reason why I come here because I need help with my construction company, because I do be losing money because I don't really keeping up with everything. So I need a budget thing and help, like promotion and networking. Nice to meet y'all, man. I'll be networking with a couple of y'all.
And it was hard to find an African American, and I didn't find one.
This is what we're trying to create.
Right, and so most entrepreneurs have more than one idea, right? But for this class, pick one, right? So that you can focus on it throughout the semester, and then the skills that you learn from that business, you'll be able to apply it to any of your other businesses, all right? But focus on one for the semester.
Hey, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Mike. I'm the founder and owner of Possession of Property Sites and Investments. We specialize in wholesaling and assisting real estate developments throughout the Chicago market. One of the biggest reasons why I'm here, he kind of really touched on it, is kind of really maneuvering business relationships, knowing when to surrender, knowing when to hire, and kind of piggybacking off of the trauma thing. I think a lot of us Black entrepreneurs, and we all can probably admit to this, we try to do everything. And because you want it our way, a specific way, but learning when to surrender and learning when to utilize those business relationships, I think is really most important, specifically for Black entrepreneurs. And that's one of the biggest things I'm trying to learn. But also too, I'm actually, one of the biggest reasons why I'm here too, actually because I'm trying to do the same thing. Kind of get back to the youth and let them know that more so on the real estate side is teaching them how to really, the properties that they go in the hood every day, those can actually be yours.
Well, y'all, you've got a subject matter expert sitting right over there in the corner, just taking notes on how many folks he's going to help support.
Good evening. My name is Kelly Crosby. I am the owner of Iverson Aerials Inc., as well as part owner of Urban Canine. My main focus is my drone company, which is Iverson Aerials. It was mainly named after my uncle, my late uncle, He was an innovator. He was way before his time. He actually was drawing weird objects before we were really into drones, and we still found some old papers, so we're like, wow, that's, what is that all about? So I decided to start a drone company. I feel like these kids are all on the games, and I feel like that would be something that they would be interested in the future. So it's something like generational wealth that I'm trying to build in regards to my grandkids. I would also like to, like in the future as I get going, maybe get some kids that need some assistance and guidance, and maybe help them out in learning a trade or another something else to do. My main focus is to learn everything about running a business. Although I am an insurance agent for my family-owned business, I did not start the business, so I really don't know how it really goes. I'm just there because my dad gave me a job. I sell insurance. We're the Insurance Exchange, the place for all your insurance needs, located in South Holland. So when all you guys do get started, you can come holler at me, and I can get you some BOPS, which is a business owner's plan, or whatever things you need to do with construction. So, but I did want to start this business for my family, to give back to my uncle in honor of him, and to also give something to my grandkids in the future. I would like to use this job. I'm already an insurance agent, so I would like to connect with some of my constituents or other companies, or like real estate companies, where I could use my drone and maybe do some advertisement for them. I did take a drone photography class through this program, which was awesome. I learned so much. So I'm really just here to learn as much as I can about starting a business. So construction, I was really looking, this is what I really want to do. I want to get some type of property, and I don't know if this can be done, but property where I could possibly have dog training on it, as well as do my drones, something with a lot of land, so that's my ideas. But yeah, so I'm here, and thank you for having me.
So Kelly's dad actually used to teach the the insurance portion of our class when I was running this back at Bethel New Life on the west side. And talking about the drone industry. So right now we're working with Fitz-Kagi, the county assessor's office, to possibly do a social enterprise where we're bringing pilots to do housing inspections, right? They just did all the assessments recently, and the challenge was they couldn't get everyone in Cook County to sign off that we could use drones to inspect their houses, right? Because they don't want us to find illegal dog fighting pits and everything else that's going on in their houses, right? So when Kagi came to me, he said, I'm going to give you a team, just make it happen on some level. I want to incorporate drones into housing inspection. So his team said, what about re-inspections? So if I don't like my assessment, now I'm reaching out to the assessor's office saying I want my house reassessed. Right now they have to sign off on a waiver that we can use the drones to inspect the chimney for the safety of the inspector. We can get the gutters, the roof, everything without those issues. So that's what we're in the process of working through right now. And I asked them, so how many reassessments do you guys get a year? He said 50,000. I said, can we start with like 150? All right, can we start with 5 just to test this out, make sure we're not crashing any drones into people's houses and stuff. So the opportunities are there, and those are some of the stuff that we're trying to work on to open up these pathways for entrepreneurship that could really benefit us. One of our colleagues on the drone program, he started a drone company when he was in college. He dropped out of college. By the time he was 25, he sold the company, put himself on that board. That company now does all the drone deliveries for Walmart and cable inspections for ComEd. There's 90,000 miles of power cables in just the state of Illinois. The Earth's circumference is 25,000 miles. So you can go around the Earth a couple of times and still have more cable inspection to do. So the opportunities are out there, they're just hidden. And that's what our job is to peel back that onion and find the opportunities for you. You had something to say, Kelly? Not while you're eating.
It's a new technology. It's a new technology that's going to be here, and we're going to see it grow. The biggest thing is we don't want to be left out. And so if we can train our youth, if we can train some of our individuals now, the entrepreneurs to get into it, we're going to do it.
I want to say something. They have brought it to the school system, public schools. The preschoolers are learning.
Preschoolers.
Yes.
Yeah.
Preschoolers.
Yeah, and that's when you gotta catch them, because in high school, they already got the attitude.
Teacher, I wish we could have some African American.
Yeah.
These Caucasian, they're coming in.
Right. Doesn't matter where the education comes from, it's where it goes.
Yeah, that's true.
All right, sorry.
Hello, everyone. My name is Anitra. I create my own herbal remedies from hair care products, skin care products, and herbal blends. I got into the holistic lifestyle after my diagnosis with breast cancer, because one, I found that I learned more from my physical therapist in regards to the lymphatic system. So that's how I found out your lymphatic system is one of the most important features in the body. You need to keep it going. So some people, when they get diagnosed with a cancer, they'll say it's in the lymphatic system. So then it's that you most definitely don't want that. So when I would talk to my doctors about it, most of them didn't know. So I had to go and teach myself and constantly read about it to educate myself on what I should be doing as a breast cancer patient to prolong my life so that I can still be here. Most of the time they say the life expectancy after cancer is 5 years, and I made it to my 10-year mark. From this program, I just want to be a sponge. I want to soak up everything that I can learn about running a business. And I'm glad to be here. I'm glad that I was selected. Oh, and I'm from the era of the $1 property, so the people who look for properties.
Hello. Hi, my name's Lamont, and wrong class. Sorry about that. My name's Lamont Watts. I'm from the radio station called ClubSteppin.com. It's a step-in radio station. We've been in existence for 20 years. Some of you guys might know it. I transitioned it from ClubSteppin.com to 95.1 FM. Club Steppin', that was my radio station, so Ramonski, Sam, all them underneath me. Which brings me to why I'm here. I lost $3.15 million. I'll take a GoFundMe, anybody. No. So that's honestly why I'm here, because with that, the reason why is because I did what we call in the hood, I did business, but I didn't do business, When I put together the company, I did it without a business plan. I generated all the money myself and made it happen. And so I'm here to learn, just like you guys, and I'm excited for the opportunity. Thank you.
Excellent. Thank you. That is a lot of money.
Yeah.
You see, he's got a voice for radio.
CEO radio.
I've got a face for radio.
Hello, everyone. My name is Marcus. I consider myself to be a love artist. So I'm passionate about a lot of things, health being one of them. I'm also a designer, and my business is based on life. But I want to use my art to inspire and to uplift and to push people to chase their dream. I've done community work in the health space. I actually won a grant a few years ago to do a program called the Health Club, and it allowed me to start a community garden. But unfortunately, it didn't go as planned. Ended up building out the garden with the community, and then I don't want to blame the community, but all of the things that we built end up getting stolen, and so it kind of made me shift directions and where I was going. And so I just kind of got back into my art, and just kind of decided that I wanted to lead with that, and then figure out how I could create space in the community. So just trying to figure out how to learn how to like really secure my investments and create a business structure that will last. So yeah, and I'm really honored to be in this program. So thank you all for this opportunity.
Let me just say this real quick. Entrepreneurs of color generally only get one bite at the apple, right? Because we don't have family with deep pockets. We don't have financial resources at our disposal. We don't have those opportunities. But I would encourage you, just like this young brother here, keep trying. Keep trying. If it doesn't work out, it could just be one thing, right? In a car, if the car doesn't start, it could just be one thing. It could just be one wire disconnected before you got a performance vehicle. Same thing with your business. Keep trying. Don't let that one non-successful, because I don't like to call it a failure. You're either winning or you're learning, right? Who just said that? Who just said that? Winning? Somebody just, Patrick Mahomes. If you're not winning, it was a quiz, man. It was a quiz. He said if you're not winning, you're learning, right? So just keep that in mind. Every time, you think about it when you were a baby, right? How many times did you get up? Everybody here walks, right? You had to fall hundreds and hundreds of times. Babies have more resilience than most adults, right? Adults get to the point where they fall one time and they don't even want to get up, much less get up and go home, right? Get up and keep trying, get up and keep trying, get up and keep trying, all right? You have to get yourself in the baby mindset. You just keep going, all right?
Yes, y'all say best last. Okay, so I am Marvelous Marvelette. No, my name is Marvelette Bailey. I'm Marvelette Bailey. I am a serial entrepreneur. I've been an entrepreneur my entire life. I have never had a 9-to-5. Wow. I'm the CEO of MB3 Enterprise. Up under that umbrella, I have Trico Science Clinic, MB3 Beauty Boutique, and ITSE, Institute of Trico Science Education. I have over 40 licenses and certifications, and I use them all because I kind of have to keep myself current. I get bored, so I have to find new things to do. So I started out as a cosmetologist. I'm still a licensed cosmetologist. From there, I went to become an instructor, so I'm still an instructor. And then I became a trichology practitioner. I don't know if you all know what that is, hair loss specialist. So from there, I did that, so that's the paramedical field. And then I became a biomedical researcher. So I do research, conduct case studies, and all that. I do make products, but that's not my thing. And so 6 years ago, I went through a divorce, and I'm always been creative. I had a boutique years ago, so I brought that back. So 80% of the things in my boutique I made, or either I designed and outsourced it to have it made. That's in the front, so I have the boutique in the front. I do the trichology service in the back. I also do passport photos. I'm a notary, so I do a lot of stuff. But my main thing is trichology. My trichology, my research, that is my baby. Cosmetology kept me paid, but trichology is even better, but it's also my passion. So to describe what I do, I say I work in the paramedical science field of the beauty industry. That sums everything up. I love it. I like helping people. Again, I did everything myself. I became an entrepreneur when I was 10. I started braiding hair, getting paid at 10 years old. Then from there, I graduated high school, went to Pivot Point, opened my first salon at 22. And the reason why I opened the salon, a doctor friend of mine, I met him at a black tie affair through my cousin. He remembered me. And he called me and said, do you want a salon? And the only thing I kept hearing, 3 strikes you out, because that was the third time somebody asked me if I wanted a salon. I just said yeah, and had it 27 years. So from not knowing anything, just walking in and made it work.
But through the years, I continued to take business classes and did different things. I love doing a lot of speaking. I do a lot of seminars. And I found out that I'm a resource. I'm a person of value, and I'm here because I want to add more value to myself. I like helping people, and I'm rusty. I used to know a lot of stuff. Everything was like perfect in order, and then something life happens. I'm like, how is it that I was married and had kids, and a whole business, and everything was just dot my I's, cross my T's. Then I'm like, now it's just me, and I'm like, I can't seem to get it together. I'm still doing good. My business is okay, but I could be doing better. So I'm here to, as a refresher and to learn some things, because you can always learn. So my goal is to be, I also had 2 radio shows. That was a fluke. I really don't. So I love my radio shows, but with my radio shows, I did a play on words. The first one was Touch It Over Molly B. And because you can touch up anything in your life, your hair, your makeup, whatever. And then to spin off from that, I did a seminar and we named it The Beauty of Business. And that name just resonated with me. And I was going through my divorce at the time. So I said, hey, I'm gonna use that as the title of my new radio show. So I use The Beauty of Business because everything is beautiful in business. So the beauty of business, by me being from the beauty industry, but also the ins and outs, and to highlight people, other entrepreneurs that people might not know unless they heard them on my show. And every time they was on my show, they did really, really well after that. So I kind of like that whole media thing. I like that. It just sat with me. I did an interview with somebody, and after I did the interview, she said, why don't you do your own show? I'm like, I don't want to, but she kept bugging me, and I ended up doing it, and I liked it. And then I ended up, the second time I did a show, a friend of mine was doing an event, and I just happened to go, and it just worked. And so it just worked for me. Yeah, so that's enough, because I could talk, y'all. I'm quiet, but when I'm doing something I like, I could talk all day, so that's it. But I want to really to get out of this class to structure my business better, and my ultimate goal, I have 3 businesses in one, but I want to own my own commercial space, either a high-rise or a strip mall, and I want all my businesses inside, but I want to hire people and even outsource certain things, because again, I can't do everything. I don't know, can't do everything. I try to do everything. And I want to help people, and also I like speaking at schools. I go to a lot of schools and speak. I was going to do the after-school program, but they just want too much. Now, my business is my first priority. So then the school wanted to hire me and pay me from their resources, but then the guy got a new job, and I didn't want to work with anybody else because I spent too much time with him. But a lot of people don't know, when you go in the beauty industry, they just think doing hair, sitting behind the chair, but it's so much more than that. Because I made really good money doing hair. And even with the field of trichology, a lot of people don't know you can transition from the beauty industry to the medical industry. Because now I'm in the paramedical field of the beauty industry. And then the science part of the beauty industry. And I work side by side with a lot of doctors. So it's really, a lot of people don't know the things you can do within a business or how to even structure it. And a lot of us, people don't look at us as real businesses because we don't structure it right. When I finally closed my salon, I drew unemployment way before COVID. And everybody's like, well, how did you do that? Hell, because I paid into it. Because my business was structured right, and we don't know to do those things. So that's another thing. I'm an advocate for entrepreneurs, especially the ones that look like me, because we don't know. We found out information and we hold on to it instead of giving it away. But when you give it away, you help yourself, and you help other people, you help your community. So that's what I wanted.
So now all of you see the types of businesses, personalities, backgrounds. I mean, just in this small space, we've had kidney transplant and cancer, right? People go through stuff. We go through stuff. And entrepreneurship is a way sometimes to dull that pain because you're doing for others, gives you something to focus on. Last semester, we had 7 students in the class, and in week 5, one of our students passed away. None of us knew she was coming all the way from the south side to the west side on public transportation just to get to the class. And she wanted to start a business. She was energetic. We called her Shy Girl because she was so talking all the time. And we did class pictures. She walked out of class, lost 15 pounds in a week, and passed away. She had a tumor on her brain. She had cancer. She had diabetes. She had a bunch of stuff she didn't even share with her family. All right. Her family came out to get her certificate when we had the last graduation, and her husband and her daughter really couldn't handle the emotional drain that was going to take on them, so they sent their cousins. One of the cousins, the older cousin, was a student of mine from 2014, and her daughter that came to get the certificate was 12 years old when she was in that class. And she turned around and she looked at me and Vince and said, I kept the binder that my mother used in that class, and I just opened up my first nail salon at 21. All right, that's what this is about. All right, so Delicia, she came down after her cousin had told her about the program. She didn't make the rest of the journey, but part of our family is, right? And that's a lot about our journey as a people, right? Not all of us make it, but we are the pioneers. We're the entrepreneurs. We're the ones that take it to the next level so that we're opening the doors for those that are coming behind us. All right, so keep that in mind about how important what it is that you're doing on a daily basis is. All right, we're gonna go ahead and jump into the curriculum. Vince, can you get that? Yep, there you go. All right. You can use your laptops if you want to follow along with the PowerPoint, because like I said, I sent you the stuff earlier today.
Actually, I didn't get that. I got the email saying that you were going to see.
I sent an email behind it, right behind it. You didn't get it? Did anybody else?
Yeah, I got
it.
Everybody else got it? Okay. So.
Who was it from? Was it from you? I just.
It was so I'm actually not sure how it comes across to you because it's on a Google Drive, and I'm sending you a link so that you can access it on Google Drive. The email that I sent you came from my email, Philip@Entrepreneurs Academy. All right, and that was to tell you to look out for the other email, and I sent them within seconds of each other. So I'll go ahead and send it back out.
It's still with
Okay. Did you check your spam and stuff too?
The other came through. The first one came through.
Yeah, but the other one, the one with the link is coming from Google Drive. So it's not coming from.
Over to you again, and
yeah.
Hopefully you get it. Have you guys got the Wi-Fi password?
Nah,
Okay, it's QCDC guest. If you go to Wi-Fi,
all right.
QCDC number 2 and then guest.
Number 2.
Yeah. And then the password is open Wi-Fi, OPEN Wi-Fi. All one word, all lowercase.
All right, so what is an entrepreneur? If you had to define what an entrepreneur is, what would you say? Anybody?
A person that owns their own business.
Okay. Somebody that works for themselves.
Person with great ideas.
Person with great ideas.
Hustler.
A self-sufficient, creative.
Self-sufficient, creative. Okay, so let's start getting into the character traits.
Problem solver.
Problem solver. Giver.
A go-getter with certain skills.
A researcher.
Go-getter.
Inventor.
Service provider.
Service provider. Go-getter. Organized. Right? You gotta be organized. That's one of my tragic flaws. Right? Is organization. I try, but stuff still slips through the cracks. So I surround myself with people that are more organized than me. Right? Visionary. Financially literate. Right? You gotta know where your money's coming from, you gotta know where it's going. Right? A professional. A networker. A what? A connector. A leader. Multitasker. So there have been studies that say multitasker does not get as much done as a person that focuses in short spurts. A multitasker gets a lot of things done, but not as well as someone who focuses on their stuff individually. All right, but you do need to be a multitasker. Don't get it twisted. Right? You're gonna have to do multiple things. What about a human resources person, a manager, a good communicator? Right? You've got to be able to communicate to your team. when Diana first joined the team, all of this stuff is in my head. I've been doing this for 25 years, all right? Diana had never been a part of this before, and I said, look, if you have questions, just ask me, and I can help flatten the curve, the learning curve for you, because I can just spit it out. But I would say things like, set it up so people can register for the class, and then I would leave it at that. That's not enough communication, right? You gotta take a deeper dive. Vince, I gotta communicate less to, because he's had almost the same exact career as I've had, right? So there's a lot of things that he already knows that I don't even have to share, and plus he brings other ideas, right? I'm not a micromanager, so I want to give people the opportunity to be creative and bring their value to the team as well. You got a lot of people that are like, just do it my way, then just do it. If you step out of that, you're fired, right? That's not my style. You got to learn your own style on how you're going to manage your people as well, right? So you have to be culturally sensitive, right? This is a new world that we're living in. Non-binary didn't exist in my vocabulary 10 years ago, 5 years ago, right? My drone instructor is non-binary. And I'm happy to take them into the prisons, because that's an education that they need also, because when they went in, it was a different world before they got out. So to me, I don't pass judgment on stuff. I just say, okay, this is the world that we operate in. How do I help other people adjust, right? Because it's only gonna help your business. The more people that you understand, the more that you can communicate, the better off you're gonna have doing your business, all right? What's the life like? So, what was your life like as an entrepreneur? You've been an entrepreneur all your life.
Busy. But I still took time out for my children and my family. So I didn't sleep much, but I did what I need to do for them.
Yeah.
But I was busy all the time.
It's a busy life. You got your kids, you got your regular job, because most people don't start a business with both feet in. There's usually one foot paying the bills, and this other foot is slowly starting to slide away from shore until you do a split. And you're either going in the water or you're pulling that other foot off and getting in the boat, right? When I designed my sports training product, so I was MVP of the league in Europe, playing for the Air Force, and I got scouted by the Jets and New Orleans Saints. I had a year before I was getting out. I was 6'3", I'm now 6'2" because I'm shrinking. I was 6'3", 218 pounds, so I was a big wide receiver for the 2000s. But I felt like I needed to build my speed. Took an old pair of football pants, stitched some pockets on the front thighs, went to the bait and tackle shop, filled them up with fish weights, started doing all my speed training. The weight was above the knee, so I didn't hyperextend my knee like ankle weights. It was below my waist, so I didn't put pressure on my back like a weighted vest. As a wide receiver, every time I went to jump for the ball high, the vest would choke me. When I would land, I would have 40 pounds of compression stress on my lower back if I was wearing a weighted vest. I can't even remember the night that I thought of it. I was laying in bed, came up with the idea, took it probably to my girlfriend's mother who sewed pockets on, and then I started doing my speed training. I gained 0.2 of a second on my 40-yard dash and was ready to go into the pros. 3 days before I got out of the Air Force, the USFL folded. The USFL is back now, but back in the 80s, Donald Trump owned the New Jersey Generals, Herschel Walker wasn't even in the NFL yet. I mean, it was just a completely different time. 3 days before I got out, they folded, fulfilled all their needs with the crossover players, and I lost my shot, right? I threw those pants in the closet. I never looked at them again for another 2 years. Until I'm cleaning out my closet, and a friend of mine is like, hey, what are these? I'm like, there's something that I use to design for myself. She was a figure skater. She goes, I could probably use these for figure skating. I'm like, yeah. She goes, you could probably use these for aerobics, because that was when Jane Fonda came out with the leg warmers and was doing, and Richard Simmons there's a bunch of people in the room, don't even know what I'm talking about. Richard Simmons was out doing his things, I know you do. Right? And so she says, you could probably use them for fire and rescue and military and martial arts and rehabilitation. And I'm like, you know what, give me those. And I snatched them from her. The next day I went down to USC and UCLA and started talking to the strength coaches down there. Took me 2 years to refine the product so that the weights weren't bouncing away from the thigh. I didn't have to pull my pants up after every sprint. and everything, and I finally got a product that I could sell professionally. My life as an entrepreneur after that changed, because I asked my father, I said, can you just take care of me for 1 month? That was it. That 1 month turned into 7 years I was able to run that business, because my father gave me the runway that I needed. I needed more than a month, but I knew that's all he was going to give me. Right? And he wouldn't let me move back in, he said, because then I got to feed you. So, but my life was, I'd get up at 6 o'clock in the morning, and I'd make all my calls to the East Coast, because I was living in LA at the time. It's 9 o'clock on the East Coast, right? I make all my calls. I work from 6 in the morning till 12 noon. That's a 6-hour day already, right? And then I hit the beach. I was on my bike, I was at the gym, I was working out with professional athletes, I was having fun during the middle of the day. I get home by 4 o'clock and put in another 4 hours of work on paperwork or invoicing or whatever else I needed to do. It never felt like I was working. To me, entrepreneurship is not about how much money you make, it's about the quality of life that you create. All right? If you gotta be at that job every day for 12 hours a day, otherwise you don't make money, you're gonna be stressed. Right? Your life is going to be, it's like being a farmer, right? Or a cattle rancher. Those cows and steers and horses got to eat every day. You can't take a break. Otherwise your product dies, right? If you don't have your stuff where you're able to sell things while you're sleeping, then you got to be there to earn every single penny. If you're going to have a nail salon, be the owner of the nail salon. Don't be the nail tech, because then you gotta do nails to make money. As long as you own the business, it's the people that rent your booth that are making you money. All right. So we'll keep talking about that throughout the semester to make sure that you're not locking yourself into a situation where you can never take a break. All right. Because entrepreneurship, you gotta take breaks. You got to take, Vince will tell you, like I just told you guys a little while ago, I spent 10 days in a chair writing these grants and not shaving or anything like that. I got that stuff submitted on Friday. I did not think about anything work related this past weekend. Nothing. And I felt rejuvenated. I felt like I got a breath. And that's what you have to be able to do is time your breaks, right? But if you go a whole year and you can't take a break in there, you're going to break down. Your body's going to break down. All right? So, personal qualities of an entrepreneur, we just talked about that a little while ago. Core values and core competencies. All right? Understand what you're good at and what you're not good at. We're going to talk about a SWOT analysis. Everybody knows what that is? Strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats. You're going to do one on your business, and you're going to do one on yourself. All right? Because it is so important to be truthful with yourself. We all have egos, and we all think we can do everything, and we all think we're good at everything, and we're not, right? You can lie to me all day long, do not lie to yourself. One of the things that I do to check myself is when I'm going through a situation, I get right up to the mirror, I put my nose on the glass, and I look myself in the eye, and I go, can you do this? Can you not do this? What are your options? Be honest. And you can't look yourself in the eye and lie. You can't, because you know you're lying. You know you're lying, right? So that's one thing. I mean, I'm not gonna say I can lie to my girl all day, but I'm just saying, I can't lie to me, right? Right? You just know, right? You know, and what's your motivation? Is it to make a ton of money? Is it to make an impact in the community? Is it to leave a legacy for your children? Is it to have fun? A lot of people start businesses to have fun, to do what they love to do, like baking cookies, right? I did this because I like to teach. But once I started this, I realized I gotta get a Vince in because I gotta chase down the dollars. I gotta write the grants. I gotta make sure that I'm managing the grant with the state, so that way we're getting paid the way we're supposed to. We haven't gotten paid on this grant since October. All right? Dealing with state and federal dollars and city dollars puts a lot of us out of business. All right? Puts a lot of us out of business. I sold my house in Vegas, my parents' house. They're dead. I didn't sell it out from underneath them. I my parents' house so that I'd have a cushion. That way, when we couldn't make payroll, I could put up the money myself. All right? The money from the state, the money from the estate, both came in on my mother's birthday last year. I told my brother, I said, I know if we haven't gotten paid back. We won the grant in December. It was supposed to start in February. We didn't get paid until May. All right? The money from the state, the money from my estate came in on May 12th, my mother's birthday. I told my brother. Once we got into May, I knew that was going to be the day. Because she's looking at me. How do I learn the best? Right? Are you an experiential learner? What we talked about a little bit earlier. Right? So I want to take a deep dive in that. The only difference between fear and excitement is your attitude about it. Right? You know, anxiety and excitement can often feel like the same thing. It's important for you to differentiate which one it is. All right, so how do I manage this process? Time management, right? That's the number one thing, because you are now plugging in something to your already existing life, right? You already got a bunch of stuff going on, and you decided that you just wanted to tack on one more thing, right? Just give me one more thing to do, because I ain't got enough to do. Every one of you sat at home and made that decision consciously, and then came down and pitched your business, and now you're here, all right? So, thing to do lists, really important. Have that conversation with your family so they either support or they get out the way, right? This is where you start to get your practice on making those hard decisions, because once you're dealing with employees and things like that, you're going to have to do this on a daily basis, right? To-do lists. I always do mine on Sunday, right? And I do one from Monday to Wednesday, and then I do another one on Wednesday for the rest of the week, right? Because to-do lists create more things to do, right? And then if you put too big a thing on your to-do list, you're not going to accomplish them. It's going to start to feel like failure, and then it's just going to keep, your to-do list is going to go from 3 things to 5 things to 10 things. It should stay in a 7 to 10 range to-do list. If it starts going more than 10, it means you're not getting things done, and maybe your things to do are too big to accomplish, right? Like on Sunday, you don't put on your to-do list, write a business plan. That takes too long, right? But make a call. Talk to somebody about designing my logo. Research insurance. Things that you can do in a short amount of time. All right? Consultation. You get stuck on anything, call me or Vince. Right? I cannot emphasize that enough. I have students that wait till week 7, week 8. They call, they sit down, we talk, and they go, I wish I would have done this in week 3. Because it smooths things out. Sure, try to figure some things out on your own. You don't want your brain to go dead. Right? But when you get stuck on something, reach out to us. Supportive services. All right. There's plenty of things that we don't know. So if we don't know it, we'll find someone who does. We'll connect you up with a mentor. We've got a lot of people in our pool. We've got financial people. We've got CPAs. We've got attorneys. We've got insurance folks. So any place that you're not sure and, how should I be thinking about this, just reach out and we'll connect you up. YouTube. When I went and did my MBA at the University of Illinois, I did it with 37 other executives. It was an executive MBA. All of these folks were CFOs getting ready to be CEOs of Fortune 1000 companies with 10,000 employees or more. We went to China. We consulted with other companies over there, Caterpillar, Zurich Insurance, Shaw Carpet, Wrigley Gum, Horizon Hobby, bunch of organizations that were penetrating different global markets, and we consulted with them to help them do those entrances into those markets. There were so many topics that were just so far over my head that I sat in class, I held onto the table till the class was over, I went home and I jumped on YouTube, right? I just plugged in whatever the terminology was, standard deviations or, marketing on a shoestring, whatever, right? Just plug those in and watch 5-minute videos from 5 different instructors. It was so much easier when I wasn't moving at that speed and I was able to sit down and get it communicated to me in several different ways. Don't use videos that are more than 7 to 10 minutes long. It's too deep a dive into the subject. 3-minute videos, 5-minute videos on any particular topic that you see in any one of these curriculums. You'll get a whole bunch of stuff from experts that you can talk to. Not just for that purpose, but let me make this a standard practice. Do not get all of your information from one source. Do not get all of your information from me or all of your information from Vince. Branch out to other resources so that way you get a holistic view of every topic, because everybody talks about things and views things differently, and entrepreneurship is as different as DNA, right? Everything can be approached from multiple angles. We're only giving you our angle, right? So try to find the information in different places. And then your classmates, right? This is where your network starts. Everybody in here has value to somebody else in this room, all right? Vince and I always say, we're gonna learn more from you guys than you're ever gonna learn from us, because there's more of you. There's more life's experience out there. There's more exposure to so many different types of businesses. I mean, there's a couple of businesses in the room I never even heard of before. I learned about Uber in the classroom. I had a student come in and says, I want to grow my Uber business. I'm like, Uber? Who the hell would get into a car with a stranger? Right? That was the first time I heard about Uber, was in the classroom on the west side at Bethel. All right? So I don't judge businesses. I try to learn about them and understand them. Netflix. I would have never thought Netflix would have been successful, because I don't know how many of you remember, but you used to have to wait 3 days for them to send you a CD. Right? I want to watch the movie now. I don't want to watch the movie in 3 days. 3 days, I could be dead. I don't know. What, so I learned those when I was at CHA. I had this brother who just got out the joint, couldn't read, couldn't write, was a pimp, and brought his girls to class, which I wasn't against, but they could read and they could write, right? They could read and they could write. They took all of the notes and everything, and dude just sat there, and for 2 years he chased me down to start a car wash. This was when CHA had its own police force. We got him the car wash deal with the police force to wash 300 police cars twice a week. That was a $200,000 a year contract. Dude came to me every day for 2 years. I'm like, he ain't never gonna make it. I stopped after that. I stopped judging. I was too through. I need to get my own crew. Okay. So live plan versus the business model canvas. All right. Live plan is where you're going to actually write your business plan. All right. So Google that tonight or now, whichever you like. Yes. Say what? Do I have an extra pen? I gave away my last extra pen. An extra pen. All right. You got it? All of this stuff is in your curriculum that I sent out, so you got all of this stuff. Huh?
You don't see it in the doc?
Yeah, everyone's in there. Yeah, I sent you access to the entire folder. You see it? Okay. Yeah, if as you're going through the folder you don't see the PowerPoint and stuff like that, let me know, because maybe some files are coming through and some files are not. All right. So the business model canvas. Yeah, I'll let you.
Yeah, I'll have to save it for some reason.
Okay. All right.
So we'll send the second email out that'll have these as PDFs and not the link to the Google Drive.
You got them fine? It's technology. All right. Diana?
You know what, I found your PowerPoint presentation, so I'm gonna see if I can send it.
Okay. All right. So live plan is where you actually write your plan. The business model canvas, which I'm getting ready to show you, is how you map out your skeleton. All right. Everybody starts with a skeleton, and this helps you figure it out. These are the 9 categories that everybody has to know in every single business. Who are your customer segments? What's your value proposition? What am I offering you that's going to make you give me some money? Channels, how do I distribute my product or service? What channels do I do that through? How do I build my customer relationships and keep them? What are my revenue streams? What are the key resources that I need to run my business? What are the key activities that I do on any particular day? What are the key partnerships that I need to have? And what is my cost structure? Like I told you before about if you have a trucking company, it's going to be heavy in the gasoline and repairs, right? So this is the business model canvas, right? So what you do is you print this out, and if you can get a large format, it would be better than just an 8x10. I usually try to print them out at least in the legal size. And then you stick this somewhere in your house where you're going to see it every day. Maybe the refrigerator or the back of your bedroom door because you keep your door closed a lot, right? You'll see key partners, key activities, key resources, value proposition, customer relationships, all of the ones that I just listed on the last slide, all right? These are questions right here. And I'm going to show you the questions because I pulled them out of here and I put them on a separate document so you can read them out, all right? Each one, so you post this up on the wall somewhere, and then you take Post-it notes. This is just a 10,000-foot view of your business. You're not taking a deep dive into your business. So key partners, right? Each one of these boxes should have between 4 and 7 Post-it notes. That's it, right? You don't want to have 20 Post-it notes and key partners. I'm partnering with this agency. I'm partnering with that agency. I'm partnering with this. Your key partners that without them, your business will not survive, right? So for example, if I had a senior center, the Department of Aging would be a key partner, right? Because they're gonna give me updates on all the regulations, they're gonna give me all the resources that I might need, they might have a list of events around the city that seniors can participate in, so they're a key resource for you, right? Key activities. If you're in manufacturing, production is going to be a key activity during the day. It's not going to be developing curriculum or, well, maybe shipping and receiving, because once you produce the products, you gotta get that stuff out. But on a daily basis, you might not be chasing contracts because you just got 2, and they're enough to keep you working for the next 6 months to a year. All right. So chasing contracts isn't a key activity. Production for that contract is a key activity. Right? What's your value proposition? What am I offering to you? And remember, people buy benefits, they don't buy features. Right? What am I offering to you? I like to kind of share this little story that I had. I was dating this young lady, and she asked me what I wanted for my birthday. And I told her I needed reflectors for my bike so I could bike safely at night, and I needed a backpack so I could carry my stuff in. And she goes, oh. She got me a wine caddy, so that way we can go on picnics together. We never went on a single picnic together. I had 3 wine caddies already. She lost me as a customer immediately because she did not listen to anything that I said. She asked me, I thought it was a nice gesture to ask me in the first place, but that tells me you don't really care what I want. You want to give me what you want. So go ahead and just give it to yourself. I was completely turned off by that, right? Because she did not care what I wanted. And your customer is going to feel the same way. Give your customer what they need, not what they want. Right? In the last class I talked about, if I wanted to get into a Mini Cooper and I went to a dealership and I say, let me get in that Mini Cooper, they're like, bro, you need an SUV. You ain't gonna fit no Mini Cooper. They better sell me that Mini Cooper. Right? They can say, hey, you might want to consider something a little bigger. If I press for what I want, give me what I want. Don't give me what I need, because you will lose your customer. Okay? We're going to go deeper. Each week we're going to cover a couple of different boxes. A couple of different boxes on this business model canvas. All right, and I'm going to take you through some of the other files as well. How are we doing on time?
8 o'clock.
8 o'clock. All right, perfect.
So another thing too is to remember these 9 topics are what's going to differentiate you from your competitors. And then if you happen to get in front of a potential investor, in front of a financial institution, they will drill you on this. You already got it done, right? And so as opposed to having to think about it and, I'm not sure of it, it's all right there. And what's great is these 9 items can be applied to any and every business idea you think of. So as we are serial entrepreneurs, we have these, Post-it notes of all our ideas, right? All the different ventures that we want to do. We can sit there during our own time, plan it out like this, and then decide even if it's worth our time, right? How much resources is it going to involve? It's going to take a lot of money. Can I really do it? Do I have the subject matter expertise? So this is why we want to share these types of things with you. I think Diana just sent it over to as a PDF for you, so you should be able to open it up.
Yeah, and see, the thing about the Post-it notes is if you keep looking at it and you keep seeing it, one of the other things, Diana was always asking, why do you use dry erase boards? Why don't you just keep it on your computer? She has dry erase boards now in her office. Because when you come in every day, you can see what you got going on up there without opening anything up, without going through files, without seeing another page or getting lost in anything. So the business model canvas keeps your business in front of you every day so that you can see it. And if an idea changes, peel that Post-it note off, throw it in the garbage. Right? You can change your mind. It's just there to start building on the skeleton. All right? So when you're developing your business, you want to start thinking about, what's your mission, what are your values, and what are your visions? Because these are the things that are going to feed the benefits that you offer to your customers. All right? And people buy from people. All right? People also don't buy from corporations. Like if a corporation does something in the media that they don't like, they'll boycott that company. Right? We hear cancel culture all the time. Right? When Walmart was going through their stuff with not paying livable wages and everything like that, they lost a ton of business. When Chick-fil-A decided they weren't going to serve gay people, they lost a lot of business. Right? So people look at your core values as a corporation to decide if they want to purchase from you because they got choices. Right? So when you're getting to your branding and your marketing and your promotions and everything, you want to dive into your values a little bit, all right? So the mission versus the values versus your vision statement. A lot of people just mix them up and just kind of mush them all together, but they're very, very different. All right, so your mission, to serve as so this is a mission, to serve as a window to the university in an environment of integrity and equity that enables student athletes to achieve excellence in their academic and athletic pursuits. That's their mission. That's why they exist. That's what your mission is. Why am I in business? Am I to increase graduation rates of young black and brown children? Am I to preserve the dignity of seniors in hospice? Am I to create a safer, more economically sound community? All right? Why do I exist? Why do I do this business every day? Is what your mission statement is. All right? Values. They want to demonstrate a daily commitment to a culture of compliance, diversity, equity, and fiscal responsibility. Respect, value, and recognize our people. Right? That's their value. That's how they want to share their core beliefs with their students. If they can share their values, they can reach their mission of integrity and equity, right? So diversity, equity, fiscal responsibility, respect, and recognize. Those all add up to these over here, so it bubbles up. The values bubble up into the mission. And the vision statement is to become the model Division I program in the country. Simple, right? That's where we see ourselves in the future. These are the values that we want to embody to achieve this mission. All right? So when you're thinking about your mission and your values and your vision, and I've got documents that are going to give you lists of words to choose from so that you can start thinking about what embodies you and your vision, so that you can start incorporating those into your vision statement. Let me see if I can pull this up real quick. Talk about the elevator pitch for a minute, Vince?
Yeah, sure. So when we talked in the very beginning, it was all about your elevator pitch. What you can get out in front of a minute. 1 minute, because that's all the time that you have to actually win over whoever it is you're talking to. Tell them about your business. I call it dangling a carrot, right? You put a carrot in front of the horse, trying to get him to get to the horse so he keeps walking, get to the carrot so he keeps walking. That's the same thing you're trying to do when you're doing an elevator speech, elevator pitch. I want to give you just enough information so you're curious to learn more about my business, or talk to me on the sidebar, or we have a meeting later on or something around there. By the end of this class, you're going to have that down. You're going to be able to just yell it out just like this, talk about it. It's going to be inclusive of your mission, your vision, what you're looking to accomplish, and just enough to get them interested. To either want to purchase from you, buy from you, reach out to you later on, go to your website, or so what it is there. Does that make sense? Yeah. Pretty simple? Yeah, cool. You got it there? And then Phil was talking about what's my business and what problem does this solve. That's going to be the key differentiator. When he talked about Uber earlier today, it's a disruptor. It disrupted the whole industry. I remember hearing all the time that you have to have a medallion, right, in order to have one of these cabs and drive around those. They didn't need any of that. How many people are doing it now? I was just out back, you guys. Yep. I was just out in California, and I tell you, I was in San Francisco for my birthday in August. We went out to wine country, but every single Uber out there was a Tesla. I was like, what is going on here? Tesla, because they came out of San Francisco, out of Silicon Valley, had an agreement. So they are providing all of the Uber drivers with the Tesla, and they take it automatically out of payments. California is being pioneering in the sense that by the year 2025, they're not even going to sell gas cars, gas vehicles. They're all going to be electrical. Now, how is that for a venture? Now you know your cars are going to get sold. Now you know that they're going to get used. Everyone's vouching for them, and people are driving around. Think of your business the exact same way, especially if you have a recipe for fried chicken, right? There's always a fried chicken, and I will try it if anybody has a good fried chicken recipe. It's one of my weaknesses, y'all. I will stop anytime and pick up some fried chicken, or some wings in particular. But if you have that, what's going to differentiate yourself, right? Especially in our communities. You always see another one that's going to open up. McDonald's, Burger King, think of them that way. What differentiates them from one another? To me, it's the McDonald's fries, right? Burger King is your way. You can get on it whatever you want. McDonald's, they just have it all prepped and they're gonna get at it. Those are the types of things you want to think about and what's going to separate you. And then you use that to your advantage when you're talking to someone else, or you want to get them to use your service. You just bring it out. Your subject matter expertise when it comes to the lymphatic system and what it is, shows that you're an expert with it, and now people are going to want to come to you and kind of use the same things. You've been making the cookies for how many years? If you don't know how to do those perfectly, right? And just so I know, it is the one with the fingerprints in it, right? I used to get those all the time, yeah. But situations like that, you want to know what it is. Same thing on the radio station, right? How are you differentiating yourself who are you having on there that's separate from some of the others, and what's gonna get them to listen to you, so that you can get more providers to come in, or more sponsors to come in and buy some of the ads. Right? Those are the things you look at. Who is your market, who you're going after. That's how we're gonna help you with this here. You got it?
Yeah, I'm sure we'll get it.
Phil's backyard.
Yeah, that's my backyard. Yeah, I'm trying to get this, get the screen up. So it's still on the PowerPoint.
Yeah. So this is just a quick little, so what he's gonna show you now is, we're gonna weave in one of the mental health moments.
No, this isn't the mental, this is
Oh,
the
this is-
Simon Sinek.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Yeah.
So
At any time, any questions, y'all, just.
part of this is going to be the financial aspect.
Yeah.
So that's right. You actually have that business plan, you see, you guys are looking at it. So you can make that money stream.
We're gonna give you an entire spreadsheet that's like that. Your expenses, your overhead, what you're using it for, so you know exactly what all your finances are. And then when you get, next week, we're having someone from CIBC Bank that's gonna come in and talk to you about just possible opportunities there. One of the other things is the relationships that we have with some financial institutions, particularly CIBC Bank, because they're located within our communities. Once you complete this class, your certificate, you take that to them, and if you are looking to secure loans with them, they give you a better rate. So we're trying to help, and again, just provide some couple of different resources to see where.
One more question.
Yes.
So, from a financial aspect, is it possible to rebound, you're doing the job, you're doing the, you have mental.
So he's asking if his personal credit is a little bit tarnished, can he do some other things to where he, or from his other business ventures, can he do it? Absolutely. What they're gonna wanna see is how you recovered from that, what you're doing differently, what lessons you have learned from that, and then, take it through. It may be a higher rate because you have that, but that's what most financial institutions are gonna tell you too, is you gotta have your personal house in order before you can go to the business side. And that's where they're gonna help you in a couple of different ways, help you, pay off some things, get some things, taken off your report, so you can get that up, and then you'll end up providing the whole business credit side.
All right. You want to play this real quick?
All right. You got this.
Yeah, I got this one.
Oh, I heard it. Sorry, you all, our field is a little technically challenged. What else? Any other questions? Anything you think of? No, you good? Okay. So again, the guest speakers that will come in, we'll let the library know about that particular week, then we'll show up there, get all those resources there. What I'm gonna try to do is, if you can't make it, I'm gonna see if I can sneak in a recorder or something, and we try to record it or something, maybe I can share with you all afterwards. We're pretty good about not letting you bring that in, but you never know.
Oh, interesting. So, is it permissible to have a trust and so we can use the trust
Heard it before, but it didn't show up on this one.
Yeah, some reasons.
Sound things.
Yeah, we won't waste time on the video. You want to watch it?
There we go.
We can send it to them. You got it? Phil mentioned this earlier, again, we are your guinea pigs. If you got some food you want to bring it on in. If you got some designs or something you want us to try, bring that in. One of the last classes I taught, she had the world's best chicken salad. And I tell you, it was damn good. Figuring out how to get it packaged now for it.
How do you explain when things don't go as we assume? Or better, how do you explain when others are able to achieve things that seem to defy all of the assumptions? For example, why is Apple so innovative? Year after year after year after year, they're more innovative than all their competition. And yet they're just a computer company. They're just like everyone else. They have the same access to the same talent, the same agencies, the same consultants, the same media. Then why is it that they seem to have something different? Why is it that Martin Luther King led the civil rights movement? He wasn't the only man who suffered in a pre-civil rights America, and he certainly wasn't the only great orator of the day. Why him? And why is it that the Wright brothers were able to figure out controlled powered manned flight when there were certainly other teams who were better qualified, better funded, and they didn't achieve powered manned flight, and the Wright brothers beat them to it. There's something else at play here. About 3.5 years ago, I made a discovery, and this discovery profoundly changed my view on how I thought the world worked, and it even profoundly changed the way in which I operate in it.
Is artificial intelligence going to put marketers out of business? The answer is absolutely it will, unless you're prepared. It's smarter than us, it's faster than us, and it's cheaper than us, and that's the dangerous part.
As it turns out, there's a pattern. As it turns out, all the great and inspiring leaders and organizations in the world, whether it's Apple or Martin Luther King or the Wright brothers, they all think, act, and communicate the exact same way, and it's the complete opposite to everyone else. All I did was codify it, and it's probably the world's simplest idea. I call it the golden circle. Why, how, what? This little idea explains why some organizations and some leaders are able to inspire where others aren't. Let me define the terms really quickly. Every single person, every single organization on the planet knows what they do 100%. Some know how they do it, whether you call it your differentiating value proposition or your proprietary process or your USP. But very, very few people or organizations know why they do what they do. And by why, I don't mean to make a profit. That's a result. It's always a result. By why, I mean what's your purpose? What's your cause? What's your belief? Why does your organization exist? Why do you get out of bed in the morning? And why should anyone care? Well, as a result, the way we think, the way we act, the way we communicate is from the outside in. It's obvious. We go from the clearest thing to the fuzziest thing. But the inspired leaders and the inspired organizations, regardless of their size, regardless of their industry, all think, act, and communicate from the inside out. Let me give you an example. I use Apple to believe you understand everybody gets it. If Apple were like everyone else, a marketing message from them might sound like this. We make great computers. They're beautifully designed, simple to use, and user-friendly. Want to buy one? Yeah. And that's how most of us communicate. That's how most marketing is done, that's how most sales is done, and that's how most of us communicate interpersonally. We say what we do, we say how we're different or how we're better, and we expect some sort of behavior, a purchase, a vote, something like that. Here's our new law firm. We have the best lawyers with the biggest clients. We have, we always perform for our clients, do business with us. Here's our new car. It gets great gas mileage. It has, leather seats. Buy our car. But it's uninspiring. Here's how Apple actually communicates. Everything we do, we believe in challenging the status quo. We believe in thinking differently. The way we challenge the status quo is by making our products beautifully designed, simple to use, and user-friendly. We just happen to make great computers. Want to buy one? Totally different, right? You're ready to buy a computer from me. All I did was reverse the order of the information. What it proves to us is that people don't buy what you do, people buy why you do it. People don't buy what you do, they buy why you do it. This explains why every single person in this room is perfectly comfortable buying a computer from Apple. But we're also perfectly comfortable buying an MP3 player from Apple, or a phone from Apple, or a DVR from Apple. But as I said before, Apple's just a computer company. There's nothing that distinguishes them structurally from any of their competitors. Their competitors are all equally qualified to make all of these products. In fact, they tried. A few years ago, Gateway came out with flat-screen TVs. They're eminently qualified to make flat-screen TVs. They've been making flat-screen monitors for years. Nobody bought one.
Cable that has the projector.
Dell came out with MP3 players and PDAs. And they make great quality products, and they can make perfectly well-designed products. And nobody bought one. In fact, talking about it now, we can't even imagine buying an MP3 player from Dell. Why would you buy an MP3 player from a computer company? But we do it every day. People don't buy what you do, they buy why you do it. The goal is not to do business with everybody who needs what you have. The goal is to do business with people who believe what you believe. Here's the best part. None of what I'm telling you is my opinion. It's all grounded in the tenets of biology, not psychology, biology. If you look at a cross-section of the human brain looking from the top down, what you see is the human brain is actually broken into three major components that correlate perfectly with the golden circle. Our newest brain, our Homo sapien brain, our neocortex, corresponds with the what level. The neocortex is responsible for all of our rational and analytical thought and language. The middle two sections make up our limbic brains, and our limbic brains are responsible for all of our feelings, like trust and loyalty. It's also responsible for all human behavior, all decision-making, and it has no capacity for language. In other words, when we communicate from the outside in, yes, people can understand vast amounts of complicated information like features and benefits and facts and figures. It just doesn't drive behavior. When we communicate from the inside out, we're talking directly to the part of the brain that controls behavior, and then we allow people to rationalize it with the tangible things we say and do. This is where gut decisions come from. You know, sometimes you can give somebody all the facts and the figures, and they say, I know what all the facts and details say, but it just doesn't feel right. Why do we use that verb? It doesn't feel right. Because the part of the brain that controls decision-making doesn't control language. And the best we can muster up is, I don't know, it just doesn't feel right. Or sometimes you say you're leading with your heart, you're leading with your soul. Well, I hate to break it to you, those aren't other body parts controlling your behavior. It's all happening here in your limbic brain, the part of the brain that controls decision-making and not language. But if you don't know why you do what you do, and people respond to why you do what you do, then how will you ever get people to vote for you or buy something from you, or more importantly, be loyal and want to be a part of what it is that you do? Again, the goal is not just to sell people who need what you have. The goal is to sell to people who believe what you believe. The goal is not just to hire people who need a job. It's to hire people who believe what you believe. I always say that, you know, there's if you hire people just because they can do a job, they'll work for your money. But if you hire people who believe what you believe, they work for you with blood and sweat and tears. And nowhere else is there a better example of this than with the Wright brothers. Most people don't know about Samuel Pierpont Langley. And back in the early 20th century, the pursuit of powered man flight was like the .com of the day. Everybody was trying it. And Samuel Pierpont Langley had what we assume to be the recipe for success. I mean, even now, you ask people, why did your product or why did your company fail? And people always give you the same permutation of the same three things. Undercapitalized, the wrong people, bad market conditions. It's always the same three things. So let's explore that. Samuel Pierpont Langley was given $50,000 by the War Department to figure out this flying machine. Money was no problem. He held a seat at Harvard and worked at the Smithsonian and was extremely well connected. He knew all the big minds of the day. He hired the best minds money could find, and the market conditions were fantastic. The New York Times followed him around everywhere, and everyone was rooting for Langley. And how come we've never heard of Samuel Pierpont Langley? A few hundred miles away in Dayton, Ohio, Orville and Wilbur Wright. They had none. of what we consider to be the recipe for success. They had no money. They paid for their dream with the proceeds from their bicycle shop. Not a single person on the Wright brothers team had a college education, not even Orville or Wilbur. And the New York Times followed them around nowhere. The difference was Orville and Wilbur were driven by a cause, by a purpose, by a belief. They believed that if they could figure out this flying machine, it'll change the course of the world. Samuel Pierpont Langley was different. He wanted to be rich and he wanted to be famous. He was in pursuit of the result. He was in pursuit of the riches. And lo and behold, look what happened. The people who believed in the Wright brothers' dream worked with them with blood and sweat and tears. The others just worked for the paycheck. And they tell stories of how every time the Wright brothers went out, they would have to take 5 sets of parts because that's how many times they would crash before they came in for supper.
You for school was just really effectively like my life's work for $1.
And eventually, on December 17th, 1903, the Wright brothers took flight. And no one was there to even experience it. We found out about it a few days later. And further proof that Langley was motivated by the wrong thing, the day the Wright brothers took flight, he quit. He could have said, that's an amazing discovery, guys, and I will improve upon your technology. But he didn't. He wasn't first, he didn't get rich, he didn't get famous, so he quit. People don't buy what you do, they buy why you do it. And if you talk about what you believe, you will attract those who believe what you believe. Well, why is it important to attract those who believe what you believe? Something called the law of diffusion of innovation. And if you don't know the law, you definitely know the terminology. The first 2.5% of our population are our innovators. The next 13.5% of our population are our early adopters. The next 34% are your early majority, your late majority, and your laggards. The only reason these people buy touch-tone phones is because you can't buy rotary phones anymore. We all sit at various places at various times on the scale, but what the law of diffusion of innovation tells us is that if you want mass market success or mass market acceptance of an idea, you cannot have it until you achieve this tipping point between 15 and 18% market penetration, and then the system tips. And I love asking businesses, what's your conversion on new business? And they love to say, oh, it's about 10%, probably. Well, you can trip over 10% of the customers. We all have about 10% who just get it. That's how we describe them, right? That's like that gut feeling, oh, they just get it. The problem is how do you find the ones that just get it before you're doing business with them versus the ones who don't get it. So it's this here, this little gap, that you have to close, as Jeffrey Moore calls it, crossing the chasm. Because you see, the early majority will not try something until someone else has tried it first. And these guys, the innovators and the early adopters, they're comfortable making those gut decisions. They're more comfortable making those intuitive decisions that are driven by what they believe about the world, and not just what product is available. These are the people who stood in line for 6 hours to buy an iPhone when they first came out, when you could have just walked into the store the next week and bought one off the shelf. These are the people who spent $40,000 on flat-screen TVs when they first came out, even though the technology was substandard. And by the way, they didn't do it because the technology was so great. They did it for themselves. It's because they wanted to be first. People don't buy what you do, they buy why you do it. And what you do simply proves what you believe. In fact, people will do the things that prove what they believe. The reason that person bought the iPhone in the first 6 hours, stood in line for 6 hours, was because of what they believed about the world and how they wanted everybody to see them. They were first. People don't buy what you do, they buy why you do it. So let me give you a famous example, a famous failure and a famous success of the law of diffusion of innovation. First, the famous failure. It's a commercial example. As we said before a second ago, the recipe for success is money and the right people and the right marketing conditions, right? You should have success then. Look at TiVo. From the time TiVo came out about 8 or 9 years ago to this current day, they are the single highest quality product on the market. Hands down, there is no dispute. They are extremely well funded. Market conditions were fantastic. I mean, we use TiVo as a verb. I TiVo stuff on my piece of junk Time Warner DVR all the time. But TiVo's a commercial failure. They've never made money. And when they went IPO, their stock was at about $30 or $40 and then plummeted, and it's never traded above 10. In fact, I don't think it's even traded above 6, except for a couple of little spikes. Because you see, when TiVo launched their product, they told us all what they had. They said, we have a product that pauses live TV, skips commercials, rewinds live TV, and memorizes your viewing habits without you even asking. And the cynical majority said, we don't believe you, we don't need it, we don't like it, you're scaring us. What if they had said, if you're the kind of person who likes to have total control over every aspect of your life, boy, do we have a product for you. It pauses live TV, skips commercials, memorizes your viewing habits, etc., etc. People don't buy what you do, they buy why you do it, and what you do simply serves as the proof of what you believe. Now let me give you a successful example of the law of diffusion of innovation. In the summer of 1963, 250,000 people showed up on the Mall in Washington to hear Dr. King speak. They sent out no invitations, and there was no website to check the date. How do you do that? Well, Dr. King wasn't the only man in America who was a great orator. He wasn't the only man in America who suffered in a pre-civil rights America. In fact, some of his ideas were bad, but he had a gift. He didn't go around telling people what needed to change in America. He went around and told people what he believed. I believe, I believe, I believe, he told people. And people who believed what he believed took his cause and they made it their own, and they told people. And some of those people created structures to get the word out to even more people. And lo and behold, 250,000 people showed up on the right day, on the right time, to hear him speak. How many of them showed up for him? 0. They showed up for themselves. It's what they believed about America that got them to travel on a bus for 8 hours to stand in the sun in Washington in the middle of August. It's what they believed, and it wasn't about black versus white. 25% of the audience was white. Dr. King believed that there were 2 types of laws in this world, those that are made by a higher authority and those that are made by man. And not until all the laws that are made by man are consistent with the laws that are made by the higher authority will we live in a just world. It just so happens that the civil rights movement was the perfect thing to help him bring his cause to life. We followed not for him, but for ourselves. And by the way, he gave the I have a dream speech, not the I have a plan speech. Listen to politicians now with their comprehensive 12-point plans. They're not inspiring anybody. Because there are leaders and there are those who lead. Leaders hold a position of power or authority, but those who lead inspire us. Whether they're individuals or organizations, we follow those who lead, not because we have to, but because we want to. We follow those who lead, not for them, but for ourselves. And it's those who start with why that have the ability to inspire those around them or find others who inspire them. Thank you very much.
What do you think?
That's good, yeah.
Forgot to show that to the first class. So y'all got this one.
But it gives the history.
Yeah.
Which explains
All right, so I'm gonna really quickly, actually, we're gonna this issue. Okay, so now we're to the mental moment. So we got 30 minutes left. So this will be about 10 or 15. So mental health and the entrepreneur, right? We talked a little bit about the challenges that we have as entrepreneurs of color. And that just doesn't stem from our businesses, it stems from our life, it stems from our history, it stems from the news that we see every day. I mean, I was in the middle of the Rodney King riots back in Los Angeles. And then I was in Minnesota the day before George Floyd was murdered, right? I would have thought my parents would have handled this, or somebody before we got to this point, but the pendulum just keeps swinging back in this direction. So the struggle continues, right? And so we've got to face these issues constantly. They're not going to disappear in our lifetime, right? So it's important that we look at mental health as a part of our holistic being, right? Any type of performance, whether it's athletic or business or spiritual or whatever, it takes the full mind, body, and soul. Right? Again, this is a marathon, so you need to be conditioned. You need to be in shape, and that means physically working out. That means the type of food that you put in your body. If you don't put the right foods in your body, you're going to be tired. You're going to be depressed. You're going to be lethargic, and those are all killers for entrepreneurs. Entrepreneurs got to have their energy up most of the time, because when you're pitching your business to someone, or you're trying to sell, or you're out in the public eye, how many times have you gone into a store and you see somebody behind the counter? How y'all doing? Can you help me with something? That's not my department. You know, it's that energy that just turns you off, right? But if it's your business, you have to be energetic. And one of the things that I wanted you to look around was how each person in this room presented their business today, right? Some were a little bit more energetic. This was a little different because we made you come up to the front. The last class, there was only 2 people that actually stepped away from their table to draw attention to themselves and separate themselves from the rest of the class. There's going to be a portion of this class that talks about body, right? How you use your hands, how you use your posture, how you look people in the eye. Over 200 spies were caught in World War II because they crossed their legs in a figure 4 instead of all the way across. Americans are the only ones that do that. You can tell a lot about a person just by the way they handle themselves, just through their mannerisms. Right? If they go like this, chances are they have some Italian just by closing their fingers, right? Americans are the only ones that go 1, 2, 3. Everyone else goes 1, 2, 3, and it's the tongue. That's the third, right? And when you're in a room, when you're negotiating, me and my business partner, we would always sit at opposite ends of the table. So that way nobody can look at both of us at the same time, right? And we had our little signals worked out. So if I was losing somebody in the conversation, he would help me redirect. And if he was going into a subject that I wanted, this is universal, right? So, you know, body language has a lot to do with it. And what you put in your body and what your mindset is at any particular time determines how your body responds. You know, whether you're standing up straight, whether you're slouching, whether you get up out of your chair or not, you know, to talk to somebody. I got the opportunity to meet Arnold Schwarzenegger on a couple of occasions. And one of the things that I always remember about him was he got out from behind his desk and he walked around and sat with us and removed the barrier, right? That he was somebody special and we weren't. Right? That was one thing that I always remember. I don't remember the context of the conversation. Well, it was bringing inner city games to Chicago. But I don't remember the details of the conversation, but I do remember that he was personable like that, and he touched you, put his hand on your shoulder, he shook your hand, he held your hand extra long, he looked you in the eye. You know, these are things that resonate with people. As an entrepreneur, you want to be a master of that. And having control over your mental health is an important thing. And for Black and brown folks, the mental health carries a stigma. If I seek help, if I say that I'm depressed or that I have anxiety, somehow that you're looked at as lesser of a person or somebody that your family needs to stay away from because they got issues and everything like that. Well, half of the folks that are telling you got issues, they got bigger issues. They just won't address them and they will never admit to them. I mean, like I said a little while ago, you can lie to me all day long, but lying to yourself, you can't do that. And people lie to themselves all the time by saying, I'm okay. Right? When you're not. You know? I've had anxiety issues throughout my life. I've had depression. Actually, anxiety just started after I was 50. I didn't even know what that was before. Right? Depression, I've had fluctuations of that. But for me, it was always circumstantial. When my money's bad, so is my spirit. Right? When my money's good, then I'm like, well, why am I depressed now? I ain't got no reason to be depressed. Right? But that just means that you need to talk about something. Right, Diana? Diana says I need therapy on more than one occasion. But I'm going to try to show you this. See if I can switch these screens again. So let's see if you can see this. Over. Close this out. So these are all the files that I just sent you. See that? All right, so I'm just going to run my cursor around it. So this is a mental health moment. This is just for general information. This is 10 ways to distinguish your business from the competition. This is a business growth profile. So this was actually done in 2014 by World Business Chicago, and it was about, and they do them every 10 years. So there'll be another one coming out next year, but it talks about where all the industries are growing, where you're going to have the greatest growth in industries, because that's where you want to start positioning yourself around those growth industries. Like, for example, the weed business, right? Right now, it's not federal law, so if you're a dispensary or a grower, you're going to have issues, right? But not everyone in the gold rush made money. It was the ones that made the picks and the shovels. Everybody needed a pick and shovel. For the weed industry, they need containers, they need fertilizer, they need LED lighting for the grow lamps. Those are all legal businesses that you can put your money in the bank that every weed business is going to need. I just found a weed breathalyzer being developed at the University of Kentucky. Everybody's going to need that because it measures the THC that's on your breath. That's the only time that you're high is when the THC is on your breath. It's just like alcohol. They don't want you coming to work drunk, but you could drink the night before. And now weed, now that it's becoming legal, they're going to want to measure and make sure that the school bus driver isn't high. Yeah, okay, you got high last night, but you're not high right now, right? The weed breathalyzer is an industry that you could become infinitely wealthy on without having to deal with federal regulations and laws that the weed industry has, right? So this growth industry profile tells you what the businesses are. And because this is almost 10 years old, you'll be able to see how accurate it is as well. Here is an Airbnb business model canvas. Here's the mental health moment for building new habits, which I'm going to do right now. But before I do that, I'm going to go through the syllabus real quick. So this was sent to you, and to successfully complete the program, you need to, next week we're going to have CIBC Bank down here to talk about finances and getting your credit straight, right? Because credit takes a little time to get straight, so you want to start that stuff now, so that way by the time you have your business plan ready and you're starting to talk to investors and stuff like that, you can have your credit a little better than before. So we want you to be able to schedule a meeting with Sterling Neely. I'm afraid to touch anything, man. Alright, so you want to meet with Sterling Neely by April 24th to develop a credit improvement plan. You'll get to know him next week. Meet with me or Vince at least once before week 7, which is April 17th. We're going to have a quiz on week 5 and a quiz on week 10. The only purpose for the quiz is to make sure that I'm teaching you in a way that you're absorbing. It's an open book test. It's only 10 questions, but there are certain concepts that I want to make sure that you're getting, and that helps me figure out if I'm on course, all right? So, for those of you who get anxiety over tests, don't. That's my mental health advice. Just don't. And then your final plans from Live Plan are due on May 22nd. That's your final document. And the way the plan should look is you have a cover page that's attractive, because you don't want to create a plan that's just straight writing and everything. I'm going to work with you on white space and how to spread the paragraphs out, how to transition from one paragraph to the next so that the thoughts have flow. Because what happens as entrepreneurs, we start to write the way we think, and as entrepreneurs, our thoughts go in all different directions and they don't always connect. Right? So it's important to have a good document with flow. So the cover page will be something attractive with your logo on it. We'll have a table of contents in it so the reader knows where to go. 1 to 2 page executive summary, a 1-page budget, and you're good to go. All right? If you want to put any pictures in there, if you have business licenses or your logo, things like that, pictures of your product, your cookies should absolutely be all throughout there. As a matter of fact, maybe your page numbers can be a cookie with the number in it. You want to do things that are aesthetically pleasing to the business plan, so people want to read it. They're like, oh, this is kind of cool, this is good, and engage them in the reading. Bankers, investors, they don't want to read a 30-page business plan anymore. They just want to get to the point. And so if you use the business model canvas properly, those are 9 boxes. And if you just write a single page on each one of those boxes, you got a 9-page business plan, slap your budget on there, and you're good to go. All right? And I'll keep reinforcing this throughout the semester. So the syllabus tells you what we're going to be learning each week. And you'll see week 5, I have it in green right there. That tells you that there's a quiz coming up. And then for the first time in all 25 years, I stuck a spring break in there. So April 10th, there's no class. All right, so those of you who have kids and stuff like that, you can go ahead and spend some time with them, because I'm going somewhere. Here's another quiz on week 10, which is May 8th. And then the last 2 weeks, week 12 and week 13, are going to be all presentations. Right, you guys are going to be presenting, and we'll have a panel down here of financiers and some folks with some money, and they'll give you critiques on your plan. And just keep in mind, don't expect to have everything in your plan done in 3 months, because as you go through this process, you're going to get more ideas. You're going to take a deeper dive into your thinking. And so at the end of this class, you'll have the foundation of your business plan. You'll have a budget, so it gives you a sense of how much money you need to raise. But then after that, you got one-on-one time with me and Vince, or any mentors that we have, or that are in your specific fields, so you can really tighten things up. And then you just start chipping away, pitching your product, trying to raise money, and that's what you're going to do until you get it. Right? That's the journey. Get your plan in place, get some support around you, and then start doing it. I've had so many students go, okay, now that I have my business plan, what do? Start your business. That's what the plan was for. The plan was for and so many people put that business plan up on the shelf and they go, "Ooh, that was a lot of work. Now I can rest." No, that's your plan. Now you follow your plan. You wrote the plan out. Don't come ask me, what do I do now? You just spent three months figuring out what to do now. That's another thing you're going to have in the class is a 90-day action plan. What do I do in my first 90 days after the class is done? All right. All right, so that's your syllabus. That's an important document for you to pay attention to. Starting a business in Illinois, over here, breaks down a lot of the details of like getting your business license, things like this. Here's a Netflix business model canvas. Here's an article on what entrepreneurs get wrong. Here's the PowerPoint that you guys said you weren't getting, but we'll see if when Diana sends it out, if you got it. Did you all get it?
Yeah, but one thing, the syllabus is not opening for us.
Syllabus isn't opening
It
either.
needs to be figured. Syllabus is
Okay.
60.
All right. So outside of the syllabus and the PowerPoint that you get for each class, this is your most important document right here. Time alone. All right, so each class is going to have one document that says time alone. This is when you separate yourself from your family, you take 2 or 3 hours, and you go through this document, right? It'll have the agenda from the class on here, it has your homework assignments on here, it has all of your reading assignments, 9 daily habits of successful entrepreneurs. Do you have what it takes to be an entrepreneur? How successful people start their day? What entrepreneurs get wrong? And then there's resources, right? Where to get your research? Carnegie library card. Department of the Interior, business plans and profiles. So you want to go through these things. You don't have to take deep dives and everything, but get familiar with some of these. There's a lot of good information in there. Some of it's going to resonate with you, some of it's not going to apply to you, but just skim through them at the very least. You don't have to read everything in complete detail. Then it goes into greater detail on how to use the business model canvas, right? It goes into greater detail on the mission statements. It's got some examples of mission statements like Reebok, Walmart, Walt Disney, how they approach theirs. How to describe what your company does. Samples of value, providing a high quality product, providing superior customer service, providing the quality of the environment. So these are all sample values. So this document is going to build on what you've learned in class so that you can start processing and getting some of your stuff down on paper. Now, the next, so every week you're going to have one of these, and it's called Time Alone. And you truly want to go through this without any distractions. Because if you got people tugging at you and everything like that, you're going to step away for 5 minutes and you're going to lose your place and you're going to lose your trends of thoughts. And these are specifically designed to get you thinking about very, very specific things. All right, so it's important that you do this by yourself. And then write down questions. You know, you pick up on a concept or anything like that, write down a question up to the side. You can save it for class or get me and Vince on the phone and say, hey, I was thinking about this. How does this relate? What do you think? And we'll jump in. All right, let's take 5 minutes. And the last one, and this is what you're going to be using on a regular basis, is those questions for the business model canvas. See how they're key partners, key activities, key resources? Whenever you're using your business model canvas, you don't want to step outside of these questions. All right, just stay focused in here. Key partners. Who are our key partners? Who are our key suppliers? This little black arrow that you see after each one of the questions, that tells you how you should be thinking about this particular question. So, key partners. What are the motivations for a partnership, right? Some people will say, well, GoDaddy's my key partner because they handle my website. No, you can go to Wix, you can go to WordPress, you can get that somewhere else, right? Motivations for partnerships. Here are some examples. Optimization and economy, right? If I have a hair care product, which I don't, and I'm selling them onesies and twosies through my website and a dozen at a pop-up festival and everything like that, I'm just getting them out. I'm doing my business. But now, if I partner with Walgreens and they put me in 6,000 stores, they just optimized my economy. They just now put me on the map where I'm not even selling anymore. I'm just a manufacturer with one customer that I'm trying to supply, right? That's a key partner. They can take me into the stratosphere. I always use this expression. Yeah, Kelly.
So you would, with a key partner, you have to specifically list someone, or would you say grocery stores, or would you say jewels? You know, is that what you?
It depends. That's going to be my answer to everything, by the way. It depends, right? If one Jules is working with you to see how the product works before they put you in other stores, that's a key partner, right? If they just let you pop up once a month and have no intention of putting you in other stores and you're with a whole bunch of other people, that's not really a key partner, because you can do pop-ups at other places and maybe do better, right? It depends on what the scenario is.
So would a key partner be considered, with what I do with the hair loss? So would a key partner be, would I say dermatologists or would I say medical physicians? Because they would outsource, they would refer me, work with me with patients.
So would the dermatologist work with you with patients, or would the doctors work with you with patients?
I do dermatology.
So then medical professionals.
So that would, so I can use that as, so that would be acceptable.
You can use that, but it's better to have somebody specific.
So instead of saying medical doctors, I'll just say dermatologist.
Dr. Galley-Ackowitz.
Oh, okay.
That's from a commercial. Dr. Galley-Ackowitz, right.
I would add med spas to that.
Med spas.
Med spas.
So,
but those aren't necessarily key partners unless they're doing something for you. If they're just, a source of referrals, then they could be a client.
Well, like you named a doctor, she said dermatologist, and I was adding med spas because those doctors could be any doctor, but the med spa itself is in the rejuvenative beauty industry, so then you could find strategic partners.
Right, you can find strategic partners, because just listing them all out as one group, they're more customers. But if you have one person that, like Dr. Galley-Ackowitz, that will endorse the product and talk about it on television, and now is a key partner, as opposed to just a customer that is like every other doctor that you have that's just a referral.
so what's too many partners to mix? Is there a number?
4 to 7, you don't want to have any more than 4 to 7 post-it notes in each one of your boxes, right? But make sure that key partner is key. If you lose that person, your business should suffer. So here's an example of a reduction of risk and uncertainty. Here's another reason you would want to have a key partner. These are all reasons you would want to have a key partner. They are not the key partner. So reduction of risk and uncertainty, Geek Squad and Best Buy. Right? Best Buy wants to sell the products, they don't want to have anything to do with fixing them. So they partner with Geek Squad because they can fix all the products that they sell and it doesn't void out the warranty. Right? That's a key partner. They together have a great business. Right? If you're a senior center, the Department of Aging would be a key partner, because you can't get what you get from the Department of Aging anywhere else. There are no other departments of aging. Right? So a key partner is someone that you need for your business. If you have products, a trucking company might be a key partner because you don't have trucks. and you need to get your product from point A to point B. If you're doing like medical supply delivery or something like that in a local area, you need somebody that you can call that day and pick up these medical devices and take them to a patient, right? It's not just shipping and receiving where you're, twice a week or once a month, you're shipping out product and it's just another task in that trucking company. They need to be doing something special for you, and maybe even resources or a reduction of cost. Acquisition of particular resources and activities, just like what I was talking about in trucking. All right, we ran out of time today because Vince talks too much. And just the last thing that I wanted to was the mental moment, and that was building new habits, right? Because being an entrepreneur, that's what you have to do. So I'm just going to go through the topics. Differentiating between goals and habits. Goals are outcomes such as getting healthy. Habits are the actions you take to achieve a goal. Right? Start with small changes. Make incremental changes towards your behavior you want and work your way up from there. Update your environment. How many of you like to clean your house and redecorate to make you feel like you're in a different space so that you can get things done differently, right? Every 3 weeks. Every 3 weeks. Right. So update your environment. Get some new pictures on the wall. Set up your office space. Set up your workspace a little bit differently, right? Tie new habits to other activities. Make a plan using the format. After blank, I will blank. For example, after each meal, I'll read for 5 minutes. This is a simple way to remember your habit each day and encourage consistency, right? Some practice is better than no practice. Even if you don't have a lot of time or energy, do something towards building your habit. Too tired for a long walk? Walk for 5 minutes. Too busy to read a whole chapter? Read 1 page. Consistency builds habits. All right? Tell someone you're going to start a new habit. That's the one that I always do because my word is important to me. And if I tell people I'm going to do something and then I don't, that bothers me a lot. So that's why I don't tell anybody when I'm going to lose weight.
Me neither.
Okay. Track your habit. Keep a journal or a calendar. I mean, the best time that I was training was when I had my notebook in the gym all the time. I was tracking how many reps I was doing, how long I was in the gym, which body parts I was working on those days. Track your habits. It's, have a dry erase board. Right, Diane? You can track what's going on. And then celebrate your successes. Do something good for yourself. This weekend, after those 10 days writing that grant and everything like that, I went and I stayed at a friend's house without them being there, and I turned off my phone, I turned off my laptop, and I didn't think about nothing until today. So that's it for your first class. This is where we will be every Monday except for April 10th. Does anybody have any questions, comments, concerns? Does anybody think they can't do this? All right, good?
I want to say one thing. I'm sitting
Sure.
here and I'm motivated and overwhelmed, but I just happened to get this email. I want to share it with you. It says, hi, this is Janet. I bought that beautiful pancake dress for you at the local market. Today I wore it. And let me tell you what it hit me with. I'm getting my clothes the rest once a week. And we still have that week. And we just, it's a food. So it just motivated.
There you go. There you go. While you're sitting in class, people are telling you why you're here. That's your mission statement. What she said in there is why you're in business. Is to make people feel beautiful and build their self-esteem and be the center of attention. All right, everybody get home safely.
Anybody that has
Questions or comments during the week, just reach out via email.
If I gave you one of the
Reach out, y'all.